Hey guys, we'll get started in just a few seconds. AR, why don't you try talking?
Talk, 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 talk. How's everybody going? I'm not on vacation. I'm back,
Okay,
unfortunately.
okay, that worked fine. Okay, ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome to the WtW podcast. We're here to entertain and inform a bit while talking about Digimon. I'm Mark, I run WtW.
I'm AR Pulver, and for all intents and purposes, I am still on vacation.
And May has abandoned us again.
Aw, I wanted to brag about seeing the comet.
No, it was I believe she had the day off yesterday and work piled up, and well, work is work, as we all know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of guessed that at some point that was going to have to happen with doing the shows at a significantly different time, because the Saturday shows used to be time tailored specifically to make it as easy as possible for May to show up.
Yeah, some countries know what they're doing with dealing with the virus.
Not Australia, though.
They're probably closer than we are.
I believe they just expanded their shutdowns, actually.
That means they're closer than we are.
Let's go ahead and get to, well, not the episode quite yet. First up, we have a couple of anniversaries. The Frontier movie. AR, would you
Okay.
like to say a bit about the Frontier movie? Since I honestly, I remember beats from it, but I do not remember, the movie like I would even like the second Tamers movie, for example.
It's not bad. I like the Frontier movie. It's one of the few spots in Frontier that actually really plays with the beast versus human element
Yeah.
and splits the team up. So yeah,
Do
no, I
do
think
do we
Frontier
want
movie
do we
is
want
pretty solid compared to a lot of those other movies of that ilk. I think the Frontier movie holds up better than most of them.
yeah. Do we want to comment that has the same director as Diablo Strikes Back?
I like Diablo Strikes Back too, so
I think this was
that
probably a better movie than Diablo Strikes Back, as far as I remember, of course, though.
yeah, I would say that. I would agree with
Yeah.
that, but
Okay.
I
And
still have a soft spot for it.
and then Digimon Adventure 3D, Digimon Grand Prix, the first of the. This was a motion ride in the Machine of Dreams attraction at Sanrio Pearland. It also showed up. I don't remember what the Korean theme park's name is that it was there for a long while, I think. Then it got, you know, sort of theatrical screenings, DVDs, and Blu-rays, and the Digimon riders really like wacky races, don't they?
Yeah, I don't remember this at all. I
You
believe I've
you may,
seen it.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Was it's actually possible that you haven't seen it and you've just
It
seen
is
clips?
it is entirely possible I haven't seen it.
This is literally just wacky races, but there's no
Yeah,
dog going.
I think I've seen both of them, but if I've only seen one of them, it would have been the Three to the Sabers one
Yeah,
that looks like this.
yeah, but it is weird to think that it's 20 years old, because for 99.9% of us, there would have been no possibility of seeing it for the first 9 years it existed, I believe. Because
Yeah, I suppose.
until the DVD popped out, there would have been no way to actually see it for most of us. So
Yeah.
it's weird because we knew about it. We had, I think, the poster and almost nothing else. But yeah, and then we have Joe has shown up for episode 7.
Yay!
But before episode 7, episode 6 actually tied with Healing Good Pretty Cure, which shows up in the top 10 quite a bit. So that's not bad.
Every every time I see that title, I think it's heckin' good Precure.
You think it's what?
Heckin' good Precure. It's a heckin' good pupper.
Okay. So you like Helling Good Precure, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, that's actually not a bad performance to tie a show that shows up in the top 10 constantly. Although I do know it's hard because I believe Digimon's on at the same time as Kamen Rider. I think One Piece is on at the same time as Super Sentai. So you have all those things clashing with each other, all from Toei. And then we finally will talk about episode 7. That boy is Joe Kido.
That boy is Joe Kido. What a title that is.
Yeah. It it almost feels like the title's a purposeful joke.
Yep. It's like
So
that. Yep, that
yeah,
boy is Joe
yeah.
Kido. But what do you want from him?
Joe.
It's just
I
Joe.
Now I think everyone's kind of agreed on this. Joe is Joe, probably more so than anyone so far.
That's it's a little strange in a way because everyone else is showing up in their like prime peak performance, like they're in it, like we get their best selves of Taichi and Sora and Mimi,
Joe is
and then
arguably
Joe.
he is arguably closest to Try Joe early on.
Yeah, like this is the worst
Yeah,
Joe
like
we've seen before. Like this is this is the nadir of Joe, like mired in the throes of his
yeah.
downward spiral.
It
It's
actually
it's a
does make it.
clash.
Yeah, but now that that exists from Try, it actually makes sense to deal with it here, especially since I don't know if I expect to get random time jumps later on for this part of the franchise, so it makes sense to deal with that.
I guess, but at the same time, this is supposed to be a character
Yeah, it's something.
introduction. So, we're getting these
Well,
really
but
great looks at these other
see,
characters, and then Joe shows up, and it's like, oh no, he's a mess.
I
Sorry.
see. I think that makes sense because you get Tai Chi, and he's. I don't want to say coherent because that's not right, but like he's much more direct in figuring out what needs to be done than original Tai Chi was when he was introduced.
Right.
Koshiro was very much on the pulse of what was happening. Yamato was introduced and he's already aware of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sora shows up and Sora, the most she's phased is looking at her phone for a moment, and then that's basically it. Mimi, we get the flashback showing her being bothered, but really she's introduced as a queen. Someone has to get the booby prize.
Yeah, and it's
And
always just
and and
it's
and it's
unfortunate that it's always Joe.
yeah,
Like
but
Joe always
he
gets the
does it
booby
so well.
prize
He
these
does it
days.
so well.
He
Um,
does, and it really it does work.
no, it does.
It's just unfortunate
So
that
how? So
it's
before we,
Joe, and it's all, and they manage to find his. They find him at his worst when everyone else gets to be at their best. It works for
it
purposes of
does.
the show. Don't get me wrong. This was a good episode.
Yeah.
It's just so on the nose. It's just funny.
So before we get into the plot, how do we feel about Joe's new voice?
It was fine.
It was fun. My only issue was I feel like there wasn't enough energy when he was freaking out.
Yeah, yeah.
It felt a little low key in that case.
Yeah, I mean, Joe was going to be one of the hardest voices to replace.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like it's not the same, but how can you expect it to be?
Yeah, but it worked really well for me in general, and if I remember right,
And
this
Lord
is
knows, Kikuchi's
sorry.
probably going to show up. Kikuchi's probably going to show up some other time.
He shows up so often. It would all like he is like the workhorse of the Digimon franchise.
He really is.
Yeah. But as for Joe, we've heard his actor before, quite a bit actually. In an entirely like he was Kiriha, he was Greymon, Ballistamon, Cyberdramon, and Bagramon.
Yeah, he
Like
he covered the Cross Wars. He was the Kyle Bear of the Japanese Cross Wars.
Yes, he was. It's just weird to think like, this is such a different character than any of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about Gomamon, but that's hard because Gomamon is just Gomamon.
Gomamon is. I really like that they call out that his loyal side and focus on that with his introduction more than his, kind of goofy and joking side.
They did. I liked how they point out why Gomamon would still help Joe in when he's acting like that. I thought that actually worked well where he points out Joe has a lot on his mind and he knows that Joe will come through and Joe has things to do. He's fully aware of that.
He has faith in his partner. Like he buys into the whole idea that they're there to partner with these human children and that these human children were picked for a reason, that he knows that Joe will come around eventually.
And of course, Joe does come around really quickly, but he's a bit too prideful to admit it, where he's sort of just like sneaking up behind and watching because he's too worried. He's not willing to jump out, but he's too worried to not watch.
Yeah.
Do we worry that Joe has brain damage?
I mean, I tend to worry that all the kids have brain damage. So
Yeah, but
Joe's
to be
no
fair, none of
exception to
the.
that.
I don't know why, but I just started laughing when our introduction to Joe is roughly that he has his little hut and he's just studying.
Yeah, that's Gomamon right there.
Yeah,
With
I
the
know,
hut.
but that just made it all the funnier was he had the little studying hut. And now what's weird is there's all. Am I wrong, or was there almost no plot in this episode?
This was a very standard episode.
Yes.
The old
This is
formula
Joe.
of
This is introduced Joe and Gomamon.
Of old adventure episodes. The idea of just kid has a problem, situation comes up, and for some reason the kid has to overcome this problem in order to get their Digimon to evolve to the next level. This is really the first time the new series has done that, and it's such an old common formula
which is
for a
what's,
Digimon episode.
Yeah. And what's weird is because the new show hasn't done it, it oddly felt kind of refreshing and fun.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said. It was refreshingly old school.
Okay. Yeah. So how do we feel about Agumon being the only person who has proper evolution so far? I mean, we sort of wondered if that may be it, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really like it either, but I'm glad it was shorter this time.
The Palmon bit worked. Well, the Palmon bit would have worked if it was not next to the Agumon one, where they sort of
they don't look good. They don't look good next to each other. I honestly kind of like the quick Palmon sequence.
Well, Palmon, they basically just filled in the color from her fancier one, cut out most of it, and then it worked well as a quick evolution because in her she spins around and everything, so it fits the general theme.
Yeah, I'd count it as a sequence. It's just
I will
not
say
as
this.
Flashy as
I will say this though. I was not a big fan of Gomamon's.
Yeah, Gomamon's sort of
because one, his shape is so similar to Ikakumon that they need to focus more on like him getting larger, and they sort of didn't. So the only scene where anything really happened was when his face sort of just plumped out to Ikakumon. So it just didn't really work for me, to be honest.
The other thing is that all of the other ones really emphasize the color, the designated color for the kids, and there's not a lot of fun you can have with gray.
Yeah, especially when the other color is white.
Yeah,
because
there's just it's never going to pop.
See, this is where it actually would have been smart if they'd used aqua like they're using on some of the things that they can't use gray to pop on, product wise.
Yeah.
So just use gray and use the aqua, and that would have actually maybe worked. Oddly, that's almost all of Joe for the episode, but Mimi still doing the queen bit worked shockingly well.
It really did. You wonder how they're going to perpetuate some of these recurring character bits going forward, and you see it this time is like, oh, okay, this is going to work.
The only
as long as they keep it fun, and it doesn't come off as demanding. That's what you have to do.
Like the Palmon Butler stuff may stop working very quickly, to be honest, depending on how that's played. That here it worked because it was only there for the T bit. But the problem is if you're going to do more stuff with Mimi, you have to have more Palmon, and that's where it's going to grate very quickly.
And so you're going to have to find different ways to use Palmon to give Mimi that sense of luxury living that she's going to have to indulge in every so often, and that could get old pretty quickly if you run out of ideas and feasible things to do. It's not like Eri and Atmon, who had kind of that similar thing going with Dokkamon, where they're in the real world. You can always find different ways to incorporate that.
Exactly. Here, there's only so much you can do because it's literally just Palmon serving Mimi and something needs to be done with that soon, but hopefully that will. And
Or
we
it's just one of those gags that'll just sort of run its course and they'll just stop using it after a few episodes.
Hopefully. And we're not 20 episodes in, but we get to see more Hikari.
Yeah, Hikari was in this episode.
Yeah.
Very short, very kind of filled its purpose scene.
Well, here's the question. Is the ending purpose or is the ending of that a mistake?
I think that was on purpose. That's where it was
the
only
TV
kind of sort of effective, where I think that's what they were going for, is to demonstrate that everything else is off but the TV's working, that was an intentional thing, because Koshiro mentioned that was a thing earlier on where digital connections were still going despite the power going out.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I was more trying to think, was it either a mistake or was it trying to show us that Hikari has some unique connection to the digital?
No, I got
you're saying okay, so you think it's more just the random, some stuff is still mysteriously on that Koshiro brought up.
That's what I got out of it. It could have been called out a little more directly, like maybe mom goes, everything's out except the TV, that's weird, just some sort of a call out to show that no, we know that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I would have liked a little more overtness with that, but that's the impression that I got.
Okay, that makes sense. And they're off to Cloud Continent.
Yeah.
Which it feels like that's very early, doesn't it?
It does, except if we're going with the parallels with the original series, it's episode 8. Okay, it's time to get real now.
Now, did you watch the extended preview?
Of course not.
Oh, you missed some good stuff. I'm not going to talk about it, but some really good material.
Good. I'll enjoy it next week.
Unless it's not in there, because that occasionally does happen. In which case, I will force you to watch it so we can discuss it then.
Okay.
Do we have anything else to say about That Boy Is Joe Kido? It's weird because there isn't much to talk about in this episode minus Jou and Gomamon, because that was the episode.
Yeah, I really wish Taichi would have better reactions to stuff. Like when everyone's getting pummeled by Gesomon and everyone's falling into the water, Taichi just kind of, oh no, hey, that's not good. A little more concern would be nice there, but...
And you did finally get your wish. Birdramon just got whacked right out.
Yeah, I mean, Birdramon was holding the show for a while, so I suppose she was due for a disappointing outing.
Maybe she'll be due for some sort of evolution sequence at some point.
I don't know. I'm starting to enjoy this running gag of constantly screwing Birdramon over, even though she's been carrying the team the last couple episodes.
Yeah, we'll see what pops up. So, nothing else to say about episode 7, I think?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's weird.
The problem with watching this episode when I'm on vacation 300 miles away is I don't really remember anything else from it other than what I wrote down and put in the blog.
Well, see, that's the thing is, I'm even looking at what I wrote down right when it aired, and it's basically just a few small things and then Jou and Gomamon, because it's the Jou and Gomamon episode that we sort of were expecting to get for the Koshiro episode.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough because I wrote my blog Saturday night, and so it's basically today I'm just going back and looking over it going, yeah, I vaguely remember thinking that.
Same. So that's it for episode 7. But then in the fun news, they announced the first Blu-ray and DVD box. And at first we had to wonder if they were announcing this early by mistake for reasons we will get into later. But they did not. It was meant to be announced when it was announced. They're not saying the episode count, which is very interesting to me. They're saying that it's 2 discs, so we have a rough idea how many episodes. I would guess between 10 and 13.
Yeah.
Blu-ray and DVD. Price is a little high. The price is a price that you can get because it's Adventure.
Yeah.
Extras are basically trailers, a 3-sided box with art. I'm hoping it is new art because
We could use some new art for Adventure for the
Yes,
reboot.
yes, we could. And hopefully not ones that use that weird glossy shit that the Atmon one did that was just a pain in the ass to scan, where I was literally using material that had glue built into it to keep stuff from reflecting. Ugh. But yeah. Trying to think anything else about the blood scanning. And this happens with almost every Japanese release. Can they not say that having labels on the discs are a feature?
There might be cool labels.
I don't care if it's look. If I get the disc and it's not the coolest label I've ever seen, then I don't need to know about it ahead of time. Like,
No.
like if it has that weird hollow material and it like makes a hologram appear, then yes, I want to know about it. Otherwise, I really don't.
It's gonna be the crests of courage and friendship.
Yes, it will. Or Tai Chi and Agumon.
Well, could be. Yeah.
We need to like set up a betting pool basically.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Is it going to be the crests, or is it going to be the character, or is it going to be the characters? It's going to be Taichi and Yamato either way. But
yeah, it's just a matter of how it's formatted.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we got some fun surprise news early today, which is we have full details for the home video release of Kizuna, and at this point it feels like there will not be any further delays. So
yeah.
so October 6th is the date where it wasn't really confirmed by Shout, but the date was too specific to a real release date for it to have been a guess by Amazon or a fill-in date.
Yeah.
So that's the date. Digital will be a week early, and digital will be both English and Japanese this time because you don't have the weird OVA multi-license that happened last time, which sort of meant that there was never a Japanese version to purchase.
Now I'm confused. If you buy the physical release,
there is no digital code that I'm aware of.
Oh, so you have to basically buy both if you want it a week early?
Yes.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, which goes back to it being a movie instead of an OVA that they're saying is a movie.
Yeah.
Because there was, the Japanese version was specific to Crunchyroll. The disc was both, and they threw in a digital code for the English version. Here, it's a full film release, but for whatever reason, they're not doing a code for it. So everyone got their early digital release they wanted. I mean, the monkey. I mean, the monkey's paw closed a bit, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't mind doing separate releases. I just would have rather one of them not be earlier than the other. Now I really do have to buy both.
The only place where I will go if they do it, and it depends on the company. Like Funimation does, I don't remember what Shout does and of course Shout may not be the digital distributor. It would probably be Cinedigm who does digital stuff for Shout. It may very well be the situation where the digital is English and Japanese are released, not a single one.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see how that's done. Hopefully, it's just if you buy digitally, you get both. We get a bonus feature announced, the final evolution, remembering 20 years of Digimon Adventure with Joshua, Seth, and Tom Fawn.
That could be fun.
I hope that will be fun because I could also imagine that being 3 minutes of quick talking heads.
Yeah.
So we will see what that is.
Joshua's usually pretty good at making it entertaining.
Yes. The Shout pre-orders reopened. Still lithograph, but orders were canceled last time, so if necessary, you need to reorder it if that's what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking what else. Toei and Shout have teased news and activities will come up in the lead up to the release. I don't know what to expect, if anything, that's real. Maybe another subtitled short, which seems unlikely, but I can hope.
Yeah, because all of the remaining ones are all connected specifically to scenes in the movie where you kind of need to watch the movie first, isn't it?
No. The second one is a scene in the movie. The third one, I don't believe is connected to the movie at all. It's a
That's
it's
the
Go.
Joe one.
Yeah, it's where Gomamon calls Agumon for help because Joe's busy, and Agumon and Gomamon go and do stupid stuff.
Okay.
As I recall, the fourth one is if I remember, Piomon and Palmon thinking about, well, if they were able to jogress, can they jogress? Blah 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 blah. So as far as that doesn't sound like it's something from the movie scene wise.
Right.
And then the fifth one is seemingly Gabumon and Vmon at a bar telling, like mock noir detective stories, but it's about Pumpmon and Gatsumon.
I hope they release these eventually somehow.
Yeah, and of course context, and of course we know so little. It could be that it's not them telling stories; it's that they start to, and then they actually show up. So, take a minus the general thing. Take all that with a grain of salt, because we only know the basic ideas of some of them. And then the big thing was we got the English cast, and unfortunately we didn't think about this earlier because we actually said this, which was, man, wonder why they aren't releasing the cast list. And then we sort of moved on, and it didn't come up later when we realized, oh, they're not done recording and they're changing around actors.
Yeah.
So I think we can skip the ones who are returning from Tribe because we know them, and ironically, I believe we know everyone who's returning from 02 already. Minus Paul St. Peter. I don't believe we officially knew he was coming back.
We didn't officially know, but we knew.
Yeah.
We knew.
So
and he was in Try as well.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So
I would have.
To be fair, people showing up in Try is not a guarantee. This point. So
but there were only 2 actors in Try who didn't repeat their characters.
Well, let's go down the list. Matt's being done by Nicholas Roy, who is Mikey in Digimon Fusion.
I find that hilarious that he's going from Christopher to Mikey.
Yes, that everyone's pointed that one out. Mimi's being done by Kate Higgins, who is Miki in Data Squad and Meikumon and Gadomon in Try, and Gadomon here again. This feels like it's purely a coronavirus case.
I hope so. And I mean that by I hope it's not anything other like contractual issues.
I can't imagine. Felice Sampler's always been more than happy to come back.
Yeah.
So then we get Erica Harlacher joining as Manoa.
She sounded okay in the trailer.
Kaji Tang is Kyotaru. He always sounds good and stuff.
Was that his name?
Unless
I can never remember that guy's name.
I don't remember if it's Kaji or Kaiji. It's one or the other.
No, I mean the character, because I thought it was like Ryutaro or something.
Now you have me wondering. 1 second.
That does not. I could be completely wrong here because I can never remember this guy's name.
No,
it's been a while since I've thought about it.
No, you actually may be right. It's one of those things where, I believe I woke up at 11, rolled over. Oh, there's shit to do. Paste that in. Kiyotaro Imura.
Okay. Oh.
So that is in fact his name. I think it's because we always just end up calling him Imura or not calling him anything. So like
he's
the name. Yeah, exactly.
He's not Daigo.
Yeah. So Davis is Griffin Burns, who we hear a quick shot of in the trailer.
Yeah,
and I
already miss Brian Donovan.
I mean, the instant we found out it wasn't going to be Brian Donovan, we were going to miss him. But
I know.
Yeah, that was
hearing one shout. I'm like, I miss Brian Donovan.
Cody was a case where even if Felice Sampler was back, we didn't really expect her to be Cody. I don't think Bryce Pappenbrook, who will
we discussed that. Bryce Pappenbrook, sure, okay.
Yeah, Yoli's being done by Jenny Tirado.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't checked. A few people who have looked at roles of hers actually says it works really well for Yoli.
I watched someone on the Discord posted a reel of her acting. It sounded fine for Yoli.
Armadillo Mon's Robbie Damon, which everyone seems very amused by this because I guess he's always playing pretty boys. So they're like, so they're like trying to imagine him doing like the slow Texas Armadillo Mon drawl that. And I'm not sure, and that may be unfair to expect him to do.
Yeah, it's like,
So we'll see.
is he going to try to do something different with that? Because it's really hard. I mean, you're not going to be able
Yeah.
to, replicate that distinct voice of Robert Axelrod.
Yeah.
And the question is, do you do that? Do you try to go for something a little
I,
closer to the Japanese version? Do you just kind of make it your own? He's in a tough spot there. I think he's going to get.
yeah,
I don't think like
this
it's
is
going to be
this
tough
is the
either way.
this is the one that I would say no matter what he does, he will be unfairly crucified.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Also,
Oh,
I find it a little strange that Robbie Damon is playing the two characters that were originally voiced by actors who have departed.
that is, didn't even think about that one. We already knew Neil Kaplan wasn't coming back as Hawkmon. Hawkmon's being done by Christopher Swindle. This is another one that it feels like no matter what it is, the person will be crucified unfairly because Neil Kaplan. Everyone's just always loved Neil Kaplan. Like,
Yeah, I mean everyone loves Neil Kaplan. At the same time, Hawkmon Hawkmon
no.
isn't like Armadillomon. That voice you can kind of approximate
Oh,
with like sufficiently.
As I remember, it wasn't it Nimoy in movie 4.
It might have been. I don't even know. I just Hawkmon doesn't strike me as a voice that you can't do.
Oh no, I mean in the sense of people just wanting it to be Kaplan. I don't mean in the
Yeah.
sense of the voice being uncopyable. I mean, yeah.
I mean, I miss I miss Kaplan in the
Oh,
sense that I like
okay.
having Kaplan as a part of it, but
Yeah,
it's not like Davis where I don't think it's gonna be like Davis where I go, oh, I miss that actor. It's like
and I
okay,
checked. And I
I think
checked. Sorry, go ahead.
Swindle's gonna do fine.
Yeah, and I checked. It was Nimoy in movie 4.
Yeah, okay.
I keep forgetting how many people he was in that one because of characters who had little lines, and he would just imitate them, and many people never noticed because he's
Right.
Gabumon, he's Hawkmon. Yeah, and cast overall is good. I will understand people feeling sore on this one because in some cases it's not even a matter of them not coming to terms with people. It's a matter of it almost feeling like it was taken away.
A little bit. A
Yeah.
little bit in the case of that's mainly the case
Well,
with Davis for me. The other ones I'm like I understand.
but in some of those cases it's also where the actor may have never known.
Oh, I hope that's not the case.
Because like we know Kaplan was just told seemingly after it was recorded that they just decided they had to go in a different direction. That doesn't, in the case of that doesn't make sense for the voice. That makes sense of there was an actor who was there and we could record them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is we don't know how much we don't know how much these characters exactly are involved. You know how many lines that like Digimon have.
I want to hear Neil Kaplan for the 2 lines of the movie.
That's fair.
To be fair, I don't know how much he talks, but 2 lines feels like what Hawkmon will have.
Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah,
and if it is only 2 lines, then you do kind of understand. It's like, yeah, you don't necessarily want to bring in Neil Kaplan for 2 lines.
Especially if there's an actor who's there, and you still have to schedule with, especially since everything is going slower with a lot of actors doing stuff from home. If someone's there or is doing a recording and they have extra time, it's just get it done, basically.
Yeah.
And so we have about 2 months. And the Japanese release is about a month away. And we have the preview of box artwork by Katsuyoshi Nakatsu that they promised for the fancier version. I really like this. My only issue with it was when we saw the Digipack artwork and they were all relaxing, I'd kind of hoped they were going to fit the theme that the Blu-ray boxes had done. Where it was them relaxing on the inside and the outside it had like the running theme. I kind of hoped they were going for that when we found out there was an outer box.
I like the relaxing and sitting art a lot better.
Yeah.
But I guess the Taichin Yamato artwork is probably more fits the tone of the movie.
Do you think we get tiny little sketches of everyone else on a flap somewhere?
Oh, I hope so.
We're not going to, but it feels like we should.
Yeah.
On top of that, we got photos of the packaging. I don't know, the Digipack looks nice, and it was even pointed out in the tweet that did it, where the colors came out much more vivid and nice looking than expected.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it's just sitting on a couch for no reason. And we also got to see the box, and it's, basically like a nice chipboard box. I do not like that logo on the spine, though. That bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Because the design of the text doesn't work vertically for me. Then you have Last Evolution in the English text of the side. The little sigil is not centered. I assume it's centered if you cut off the end thing. But, that doesn't look right to me. I don't know. I would have preferred just doing the, I don't know what I would have liked for this. It just doesn't feel right to me. Yeah. I like the art, though. But, bad Happy Net. You almost did good. And then the last bit of voting for DigiFest is up, and we did not put in the image of the actual poll stuff itself.
Although, I can't really talk about this one.
Yeah, I will say minus maybe 2 of them, it could be talked about. And even those 2 are thinner, but basically get in your vote if you want to, but be aware there are spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say one of them is a plot spoiler. One of them is more an emotional spoiler than everything else we've seen. Does that sound about right? Or have you not even looked?
I haven't looked.
Yeah, most of these we've seen, though. So vote if you're going to. Smoke them if you got them. And then the most beloved thing that everyone loves and that no one hates, it's DigiNavi.
Glad I was on vacation and didn't even have the temptation.
Well, the thing is at this point, well, here's the thing. At this point, we know what DigiNavi is. There was no surprise. It is a show where they go over recent and upcoming stuff, and there's a couple small things throughout.
It's an episode of the podcast, really.
Basically. Except with video and toys.
Yeah. And any new announcements they make, we'd cover in this episode. So.
See, that's what we'll do is we'll get video setups, and I'll have a soundboard with Chika Sakamoto's Agumon, and it'll be exactly the same.
just every so often, just randomly put buttons. It's like, I'm hungry, Taichi.
Yes. See, now I need to know, does Tom Fawn have a cameo? Because we can do this.
There we go.
Yeah. So they showed off the Digivice, which I have to admit, the actual spinning effect works a lot better than I thought it was going to. Did you look at any of the video or not at all?
Nope, I was on vacation.
Yeah, okay. The 8 LED spinning effect actually works, and I was kind of shocked at that. They also showed some of the little sprites there, and it looks nice. They went over Rear Eyes. They're doing a Hackmon giveaway, and they're adding Merciful Mode, which I like the Merciful Mode model. Was it in links before it closed? It was, right?
Oh, jeez.
I think it was.
I
think it was. I barely played links, so it's one of those things where they showed off the Shoto figures, which every time I see these look much nicer than they should.
Yeah.
Especially the War Greymon one.
Yeah.
They showed off the Metal Grumon model kit, which at that point I believe it was out in Japan or out the next day. They showed off socks and underwear because, of course, they did. I feel bad for he's in charge of writing the show, and they have him showing off the underwear. They showed off some other products that we'd seen in detail. We looked at the secret parallel cards from Booster Set 2. And the big announcement was that they're going to show X Evolution at the end of DigiFest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where, a lot of people are excited about, but it's this isn't not available. It's like if you want to watch X Evolution, it's not that hard. It's just that no one wants to watch it because it's X Evolution.
Is there anything that they could have shown that isn't particularly accessible, though? I think that anything that they would want to hype up would be something that you can kind of get your hands on.
They could show a collection of old trailers which had new animation, and we haven't seen in hell knows how long. That I would be willing to see, but they're never going to show that because no one cares but me and you and a few other people.
But that's the thing is like, and if you're gonna do like a DigiFest thing, then yeah, sure, show an actual movie, and if you're gonna show an actual movie, then yeah, X Evolution's a fine choice.
X Evolution, it exists.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's worth a watch. Some people like it.
That's faint praise, AR. Some people like it.
I have mixed feelings about X Evolution. Like, it's for the problems it has with the plot, I really do admire the ambition. It has a lot of ambition behind it.
I feel like it had ambition up to a point, and then at some point everyone gave up and it became a TV special. Like, it started with ambition, by the end the ambition was gone.
Yeah, it just there's some stuff inside within the storytelling that I admire them for trying to tell.
Well, it's hard to, like, here's the thing. The story's terrible, but it's hard for me to trash the story too much when it's so obvious that pieces are missing.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's like it's not a case of, oh, they cut down the story and that's what it is. There are where scenes are just obviously not there that were meant to be.
Mm-hmm. And even with that story, you know, as difficult as it is, some of the underlying themes going on in there, I admire them for at least trying to go there, even if it didn't really pull off in the end.
And on from X Evolution to cards. They showed us basically everything at this point. There's a lot of cards. We only did one card rather than doing rotating because we're not going to talk about them long enough. But I will say those Asmaria parallel cards I really like. Nothing to say about cards, AR?
Not really. This is my first time looking at them, to be honest.
But what about your deep, unyielding love for the card game? You're going to leave off all your fans who want to hear you comment on it?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I was up north all weekend. I don't have to pretend I was paying that much attention to anything.
How would that be different from any normal episode, though?
This time I have an excuse. That's why.
And then just a little bit of product potpourri. They did the art reproduction and it was gone in 2 fucking minutes despite being $350. It was literally the page went up a bit early, and, you know, there aren't links or anything to it. It just happened to go up and it got linked to somewhere that I don't even remember. So found it, started writing it up. I'm like, okay, well, it goes up in 2 minutes. I will wait to post it. That way I don't have to do the, pre-orders aren't open yet. And then so the clock changes.
And it's gone.
I do that. It goes up. I put it on Reddit. I put it on Twitter. I refresh the page just to make sure nothing's changed. And it's like, pre-orders aren't.
Just put a gif of that South Park meme.
And it's like weird. The pre-order button is not active. Did they forget to put it up? Refresh, not up. And it's like, did it sell out already? It's like, at first I was like, maybe it's a server issue because that has happened before. Nope, it's gone. And even Kenji Watanabe posted on Twitter later today that he didn't even get to like advertise it or anything. It was just gone.
I hope he got his copy of it.
Maybe he got the one that wasn't numbered. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see maybe like a cheap normal poster version of that and just charge 30 or 40 for it. Just so that people can at least
sell out that fast, you might as well try to charge more for it.
Yeah. Then they announced the Kizuna escape room was reopening with products, and oddly with products that would have fit in better with the music cafe.
Yeah.
Nothing to go over in super detail here, although a lot of people wanted those pop sockets. Like, I saw people going nuts for those. Poor May and her love of water bottles. Because that one, I will actually say that one's actually nice, especially with the Digivices on the back.
And my cheap Hot Topic one is still kind of holding up.
Yeah, but this one's metal, so it will hold up. It will hold up far longer. Yeah. Okay, wait. If the Hot Topic one's holding up, how well is it holding up? Or when you say it's holding up, you mean it still exists in some form?
Oh, I'm using it right now. I'm just saying that a lot of the labels are getting scratched off. Like,
Okay.
those aren't lasting very long.
Yeah. And then, as mentioned earlier, the Metal Gurumon. The box looks nice, and they completely changed the color scheme on us. I like these colors a lot better than the sort of not quite dark and grungy, but darker colors of the original. This one's much more vivid looking to me. Although it's weird that they changed it almost completely. And the socks are back. 500, yeah, about $4.50 for socks. May's gonna buy these, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she's gonna buy the underwear, to be fair. And then they did another folder content report, and man, it's weird when Frontier stuff actually shows up, isn't it?
Is it Frontier stuff or is it the Ancients?
The Ancients.
I'm sorry, that was me. That was me.
No, those sort of count. Those count with an asterisk.
They were a part of Frontier's lore.
Yes, but what I mean is, like, the Frontier lore may actually, like, not necessarily Frontier itself, but like that sort of background does get mentioned. We're like, oh, an ancient battle with these Digimon and blah 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 blah.
Frontier has good lore. Frontier has very good lore.
Frontier has lore.
That's very good lore compared to some of the other seasons.
I was always more a fan of data than lore myself. I'm letting that hang because someone who knows Star Trek, just in the back of their head's going, ugh, that's a terrible fucking joke. And moving on from products, don't we always like when we get art and photos? So the Gomamon art we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Gomamon Kenji Watanabe art, which I just... It's hard every week just to say it's good, because it is, but like we get the nice little detailed marching fishes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a photo from Takeyoshi Tanimoto showing that they finished mastering the single for Unidentified Airship, which we suspected this is why it didn't come out, which is they finished the short version for the show, which is why we got that as a digital single. They weren't done mastering the full version, and they were only able to do so now.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that nice photo of him looking... I don't know what to put it because, like, we only see half of him in the mask. He looks terrified, but he has the hand up as the claw. I was gonna say fun.
Posing, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say fun, but the eye makes it look not so fun.
He's exhausted because he just finished mastering a single.
True, especially since we don't know what the last song is yet. We suspect it's another Digimon insert song, but technically we do not know.
Yeah.
And then questions. So why don't you guys in the chat think them up while we go to the ones that are already there. Someone wants to know, while it's still a bit too early to tell, just based on the episodes so far, do you guys think the series will focus more on the Digimon this time around?
I have a snarky answer for that.
I would say coin flip.
I would say it's very difficult to focus on the Digimon less than the original Adventure did.
It occasionally went around to them, which so far it feels kind of the same to me.
Yeah, it's
they have more personality, I would say.
Yeah, they have a little more personality. I think it will focus more on the Digimon than the original Adventure did, but I don't think it'll get up to the point of some of the series that did Digimon characterization really well.
We aren't getting Cross Wars. Yeah, we aren't getting Cross Wars.
And I'd even put like Tamers and even kind of Atmon in that category. Like, those weren't as good as Cross Wars, but I don't even know if this is going to get up to that point. Like, maybe we'll get like Savers level characterization and we'll take it.
No, we won't, because I would like to like this show. But
the Digimon characterization, I mean.
Yeah. Joe wants to know, do we think the character growth will be handled later, since the characters will likely be getting their final evolutions along with prior other forms? It's hard to say, because they could easily swing that different ways. Because, like, for example, when we got War Greymon and Metal Grumon, that wasn't really based on, say, character growth. Those ones.
No, those weren't. But
Now
the perfect levels all were.
Yeah, yeah.
So
See, this is actually a weird case where because Try actually did base it on some sort of personal growth, everyone's sort of forgotten that Metal Garurumon and War Greymon absolutely was just, oh, there's a prophecy, shoot your brother in the back, all good.
yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be earned somehow. Like, I don't. It's always a little cheap when they're not earned. So I think they're going to be earned somehow. Whether it's going to be a personal growth, it would be a little weird for Adventure not to go with personal growth because that's sort of Adventure's thing, whereas all the other series tend to go in a different direction with that. But it is kind of hard to tell at this point. Like, I hope it would be, and after seeing this, after seeing how they introduced Joe and stacking him with a bunch of flaws, I'm a little more optimistic that they're going to round out these characters better and give them all a little more personal damage to overcome. But
we'll find out
right
basically.
now I'd say,
see, the problem is it's so early, it's almost just guessing. It's a type of guessing, basically.
It is a type of guessing, but based on precedent, my answer would be probably.
Yeah. Then one that was sent in before the show, which is, what do you think happens to Digimon next year when the show ends, survives that, and the current run of stuff is over? I mean,
hopefully, don't say it.
I mean, that's bait. That's bait because we all know Survive's not going to be out next year. So many like, here's the thing: Survive will come out at some point. Blah 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 blah. The show. See, here's the thing: saying it's going to end next year, it probably will, but that could easily change.
Yeah,
especially since with coronavirus causing issues, if you already have an office together doing stuff, they may just go, card games selling, keep going, and that could have happened anyways.
Yeah, they could do like a Crosswords and just say, okay, just keep going with this season.
Although at least this time they may know early enough to keep going.
Yeah, do another season with the same basic cast.
Hey, look, it's a new character and he has Gumdramon.
The 8 shows. But
yeah, here's the thing, and this is kind of unique to Try Forward. It ends, and in theory, stuff will still be happening in some form. It will not just be going into a coma.
Yeah, they're not. They're not going to go into a coma right away.
Yeah,
and that's like they'll try to have something going on pretty soon. Whether that's anime, who knows? But I think that with Adventure being pretty successful, I think they will try to keep it going somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, and Nyrus in the chat mentions they could show it remastered because it exists in 720p. It does not. There is like some Korean VOD service that has it at 720p, but it's just like a really nasty upscale. It's not like, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of ways you could do it remastered if something exists to work it on.
I don't know if that's a movie you really want to watch in high def.
To be fair,
get it in good crystal clear animation of just how bad that looks.
Yeah, but it can't look worse than the muddy DVD, though. I mean, look, here's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of X Evolution, but if the assets exist somewhere, let's get it remastered for people so they can at least watch it and enjoy it.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, then a double pair. Okay, wait. A double pair of Blu-ray related ones. So first we'll go with Ian in the chat. Now that a Japanese Adventure 20th box set is announced, if we get an Adventure 20th dub, do you think the episodes will be left uncut for the purpose of a dub sub physical release? It depends who gets it and for what purposes. Generically, I would say yes.
Yeah, but I would be inclined to say yes, unless they're trying to push an English dub in elsewhere for some sort of airing. A little more marketed towards children.
Yeah, I would say if a dub is prepped ahead of time, then no, and you can always cut down. because that's definitely happened with shows before. But it's hard to say at this stage because any number of companies could get it for any number of reasons. My assumption at this point was it would be dubbed at least to uncut footage.
Yeah, and also as far as there's been nothing so far that they would need to like censor.
Oh, but here's the thing: it could just be
I mean, I
cutting
know they
down
would need to
time.
cut. I mean, they might need to cut for airtime length, but I don't see this going on TV.
Hey, you never
Like,
know. Weird crap. Weird.
and
I mean, here's the
even if
thing.
they did,
Here's the thing.
like a Toonami Adult Swim type thing, like they'd still have the originals.
Yeah.
And they would cut from, they dub for the disc release and then cut it down as they need to for TV.
Generally,
so they'd still have the original.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. But here's the problem: there's so many companies that could get it for different goals. You could end up with a dub that's just completely different. Because who would have guessed that would have happened with Cross Wars, for example?
Yeah, but I don't. There's not as many Sabans out there anymore.
No, there isn't. But it's still possible to happen. Because it's possible, but I would expect it to be uncut. Let's see. Okay, question that was sent was Mark knows about Blu-rays and stuff. Do the Digimon Adventure 2020 Blu-rays seem good? What about the DVDs? The specifications are pretty standard. There's not really any minus saying, hey, I would like more extras. There's nothing negative so far. Because there isn't really enough information to go off. Like, we don't even know what the episode count is, for example. So I don't think there's enough episodes that they'll throw on there that would make 2 discs not work, but it's always possible. It's just too early to tell, really. Ramon wants to know, were we surprised that it's getting released digitally first? To be honest, that's kind of standard, and when it was being pushed back, I wondered if it might show up digitally a month early. A week isn't quite what I expected, but it's not that shocking, to be honest. What is shocking is how many people honestly seem surprised that it looks like there won't be a theatrical release at this point.
Oh, yeah. We could have crossed that off
I think
ago.
Yeah, I think minus Fathom just being weird, we did cross that off a few times, I think, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's a bit odd. But yeah. It's not shocking that no theatrical. And a week early is sort of a token, this is the best we can do. Possibly because they're still mastering it at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then one of the prepared ones that were sent in was, I pre-order from Amazon Japan a lot. Do you know when they might allow more pre-orders internationally again? It's been kind of random, to be honest, what they've been allowing and what they haven't. Like Kizuna Blu-ray and the soundtrack, I couldn't pre-order from Amazon, so I got them elsewhere. But I decided I wasn't going to pre-order. I just wanted to see if it was possible. The Astro City mini arcade machine that Sega's making, it was letting me go through. I didn't order it, but it would have let me. Which it seems weird that, like, Blu-ray and CD, no. Box filled with miniature arcade machine, yes. I would have figured the big things are the things that would have been the pain in the ass in these situations. So it's basically just a case of random, I guess. Creative Burst wants to know, when do you think we'll see Tailmon doing effect stuff in the background?
If it's not I'm honestly going to call episode 13, unless one of the preview episode titles that I didn't check out implies that she's going to show up again. I'm going to say episode 13.
I will say none of the titles imply that to me.
Okay, then that's my answer.
Yeah, and we'll give them a chance to throw up any more questions if they have them. Then we'll call it. Jou and Gomamon made it easy on us.
Yeah. Nice, simple episode.
Yeah. So you're going to buy it digitally and then buy the disc?
I guess. I mean, if I don't do it digitally, I'm not going to be able to get when everyone else is watching it. So yeah. It's like I try to get it. I try to get the review out as soon as it's available for everyone to watch.
Makes sense. What digital platform would you be purchasing it on, do you think? Assuming there's no advantage to any of them, that is.
Yeah, I have to see what the options are.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and last question. Joe wants to know what season do you feel had the strongest background music?
Oh dang.
Off the top of my head, it would be Adventure, O2, or Cross Wars.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess or a pretty good answer.
Yeah. I feel like
Because
Atmon
it's
had. I feel like Atmon had a lot of good background music, but that it suffered so much as far as insert songs go, it became unmemorable.
yeah, Atmon wouldn't be on the list for me for sure.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've watched some of these series, and I don't really always focus on the BGM. So, other than insert songs, it's hard for me to recall which ones I like the
Yeah.
best.
Generically, if you aren't sitting there thinking, wow, the background music was terrible, it did its job well enough that thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Adventure has, really memorable
Yeah.
background music. Like you can, like when you almost get excited when you hear some of those reprises in the new series. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that song. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's about it. AR, where can they find you?
Digimon.firstagent.net is my blog, First Agent ARP on Twitter. Also, fanfiction.net and AO3 Amana's AR Pulver, new chapter going up on Friday, my story.
Okay. May can be found at Lost in Translation Mana, as she always can. I can be found at With the Will, my own account, which is effectively just With the Will also, which upsets some people quite horribly. Do we have anything else to say, AR?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Actually got done with it in an hour this time.
we will catch you guys next time. Bye.